Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
We listen to the parable of the rich man and Lazarus. I said in the introduction that the parable of the rich man and Lazarus is a story of contrasts. It is a story of contrasts. It is a dramatic scene of contrasts. Why do we say that it is a story of contrasts? Contrast between riches and poverty. Contrast between heaven and hell. Contrast between reward and punishment. Contrast between compassion and indifference. Contrast between inclusion and exclusion. My dear brothers and sisters, the parable of the rich man and Lazarus is not easy to interpret. It is not easy to know the meaning and the message of this parable because there are several interpretations, there are several messages. One explanation, for example, is that the parable refers to the reversal of destiny in the afterlife. It means that if you are well off in this life, you already have your reward. Those who suffer and are deprived in this world will get their consolation and reward in heaven at the end of time. But that is not the fundamental lesson of the parable. The fundamental lesson of the parable is that death can suddenly reverse the situation of people. The parable could also be interpreted as having a message of consolation to those who are poor. You are poor in this life, but take courage. You will someday go to heaven and you will be paid back for your suffering and pain. Religion is the opium of the people. Resign yourself to your situation. There are many interpretations. But to understand the authentic meaning of the parable, the authentic message of the parable, let us take a quick look at the two main characters, the rich man and Lazarus. Notice that the rich man is not given a name. The rich man is nameless. The rich man is faceless because it can refer to you and me at the same time. You are the rich man. I am the rich man. What is the sin of the rich man for him to go to hell? Is it only because he had been partying every day? There are people who love to attend parties on a regular basis, especially before COVID. But what is wrong with that? If there is a reason to party, is partying enough reason for a person to go to hell? What is interesting is that the rich man in the parable is a figure of indolent self-indulgence. He is a character of indolent self-indulgence. The sin of the rich man consists in accepting as normal and natural the enormous economic gap that separated him from Lazarus. The rich man found nothing wrong with the fact that he was enjoying all the luxury, whereas the poor man was wallowing in misery. My dear brothers and sisters, the rich man closed his eyes to the misery and deprivation of Lazarus. The sin of the rich man is not that he did something wrong to Lazarus, but that he did nothing to help Lazarus in his need. And this is where the distinction between the sin of commission and the sin of omission comes in, but it will prolong the homily. So I will not discuss anymore the sin of commission and the sin of omission. Let us very briefly take a look at Lazarus. Who is Lazarus? Do you know that Lazarus is the only character in any of the parables of Jesus who is given a name? The other characters in the parables of the Lord, they are not given a name. The name Lazarus is the Latinized form of Eleazar, which means God is my help. That is the meaning of the name Lazarus. God is my help. Lazarus was a beggar. His body was covered with ulcerated sores, so helpless that he could not even ward off the street dogs that pestered him. To make the long story short, because still long, but never mind, I'll conclude. My dear friends, each of us, you and me, each of us has a Lazarus in front of your door. There is also a Lazarus probably in front of my door. He is somebody whom I do not mind, somebody I snub, somebody I do not talk to. This is somebody who needs my help, but I do not lift a finger in order to help him. He or she may be somebody who does not have what we have, whatever it may be, because whether we admit it or not, we are all rich in something. We are all rich in something. Not necessarily money, but time, treasure, intelligence, education, talent. We are rich in something. My dear friends, the sin of the rich man is that he never noticed Lazarus and simply thought that it is perfectly natural and inevitable that Lazarus should continue to lie in pain and hunger while the rich man wallowed in luxury. Jesus in the gospel said, I was poor and you did not feed me. I was naked, you did not clothe me. I was sick and in prison, you did not visit me. I was helpless, but you did not help me.